see the whole world shaking, and you feel your heart is breaking. Take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Happy New Year to everyone out there. I hope you have a wonderful New Year. Peace, love, good health, success to everyone out there watching. Old Lang Syne. Okay. All right. Let me close this out here. So, I hope you had a wonderful New Year's Eve, safe, and with your family and friends, and lots of love. It's a new year, and we have a lot to talk about. Oh, let me make sure I have my microphone up there. We have a lot to talk about, and we're going to talk about predictions for 2022 if certain shadows do not remain. And again, this is going to be an issue that I've been talking about for almost like all my podcasts. But 2021 was better than 2020 because we came out with the vaccine and it was distributed to many, many, many people. The stock market is doing great. We still have some other issues to work out, which I think we will in 2022. Okay. So, what I just think here, what else I wrote down here. Well, anyway, before I get too heavy, let's look at our preview and we'll talk about what we're going to talk about today. Okay? Okay, so we are going to talk about predictions dealing with 2022 and the real estate market. And I want to tell you basically it's pretty good. Um, everything is, there's good stuff and bad stuff. Um, overall, overall, the economy is strong. All right. Again, I say this every week is that we need to get in control of COVID-19. Okay. So already we're seeing cancellations in shows and different sporting events, in concerts. We see in major police departments of major cities, of big cities. Okay. Each city is major, but I'm talking about the really large, populous ones. And New York City has police officers calling in sick, firemen calling in sick, and this is not good. And I'm not so sure what's going to happen again with number one, our supply chain. More truckers going to be calling in sick, people who operate the docks, taking these gigantic um, trucks, their payloads off the ships and onto trucks that would take them to the various stores. All right. Are we going to have shortages in the mills where lumber is taken down and converted into 2x4s? All of the supplies we need for building homes and repairing homes. That's the question right now. And if this continues, then the predictions, I feel so much like It's a Wonderful Life. No, I'm sorry, not It's a Wonderful Life. A Christmas Carol. And when Scrooge sees the ghost of Christmas future, and it doesn't look good, and he goes, can I change these uh, predictions of the future? You're giving me this chance. If I change my ways, uh, will this future be altered? What I'm going to talk about today, it's really reverse. We see some good stuff happening, okay? But will they be altered if COVID-19 continues? And will people get sick? And who knows? With people who are not vaccinated, will a new variant come about? Okay. Remember, every time the, the virus hits a person who's not vaccinated and goes to another one, and then they begin to mutate again. All right. And I'm not a scientist. Okay. I want to say that very clearly. I'm just repeating reports that I'm hearing. So these viruses begin to mutate. And then now we have a new strain. And do we have a vaccine for that? It gets very complicated. So what I've always been saying, and I'll say it again at the end of the show, if you haven't been vaccinated and with the booster, please do so. Because they're actually now talking about bringing out a fourth booster. And that may be on the horizon in a pretty in the very near future. Okay, so that's very important for us to get in control of this. My feelings is that we're always going to have to deal with it, just like the common cold and the flu. And every year you take a vaccine for the flu. I think that's what's going to happen. Each year there's a different flu vaccine because it changes because of the new strands. And I believe that's what's going to happen with us. So every year you're going to go for your flu shot and you're going to go for your COVID-19 shot, but you got to get it. Okay. That's my advice. I'm not a doctor. I'm talking to you as someone who I've seen friends and family who weren't vaccinated getting COVID-19 now really, really bad. Okay. So I'm talking from experience and what I've seen and what I've read. All right. And most people that I know. And most scientists and doctors believe that this vaccine is very, very important. And again, all the predictions that we could make for 2022, and even though they're positive, this could knock it off the tracks. All right, because we'll be back again about 8 or 9 months dealing with the issues that we dealt with back then. We thought we were getting better, right? Shows were opening up again, concerts, sporting events. Now they're getting cut back again. Okay? All right. But in the meantime, let's talk about what we predict for 2022, and not what economists, people who are at the head of the National Association of Realtors, and let's look at what they're saying. And by the way, I just had this conversation with my daughter and son-in-law. They're looking to buy a house now, and I've repeated these same things that I'm going over with you right now. So, expert insights on the 2022 housing market. Again, this is on my blog. It came out this week. It goes around Tuesday, Wednesday. Good information. You could read it full on my blog. And let's go to here and move down a little bit. As we move into 2022, I'm not reading the whole thing. Both buyers and sellers are wondering what's next. Where will there be more homes available to buy? Will prices keep climbing? How high will mortgage rates go? So we're going to go down to Odita Kushi, Deputy Chief Economist, First American. And what's in red, I kind of summarized what they're talking about. Consensus forecasts put rates at about 3.7% by the end of next year. So that's still historically low, but certainly higher than they are today, which is just hovering about 3%. During 2021, they were around 2.8%, 2 3/4. So they've gone up already. 3.7 by the end of next year. It's very possible we'll reach that. I don't think it will reach a full 4%, but it will be definitely going up if we stay on track and the economy stays strong. So let's look at Daniela Hale, Chief Economist for Realtor.com, and we see an increase in prices. Affordability will increasingly be a challenge as interest rates and prices rise. All right, so you could say for the buyer, of course, that's not going to be a good thing. All right, because it's going to be more expensive to own a home. They throw in this little positive notion or remark here, but in yellow, as I highlighted it, but remote work may expand search areas and enable younger buyers to find their first home sooner than they might have otherwise. Meaning, since most people are working now at home, maybe not 100%, but maybe 2 days out of the week, 3 days, they could live in the suburbs of a larger city, which may be more expensive to live, and do a lot of work at home, and maybe they go in twice a week, which is a lot better than traveling 5 days a week on a long journey. As I might have told you before, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and my parents had a house built in the Poconos in the early 1970s, and but it was a summer home, a vacation home. But many people who worked in New York, right, that became their primary residence, and they would either drive in every day or take a bus. Now, between driving and taking a bus to just to reach New York City, whether it's um, the bus terminal, that's already an hour and a half ride. All right. Now, if you're going to the bus terminal and you work in Midtown, then that's fine. You'll work, you might have to walk a couple blocks. That's fine. If you work in the Wall Street area, then you have to jump on the train and go to. So now you're talking about like a 2 hour just in commuting. And that's one way. So now you're spending about from 3 to 4 hours, 3.5 hours, 3 to 4 hours on just commuting. So if you're getting out of work at 5, you're getting home maybe around 7:30, 8 o'clock, and you just have enough energy to have dinner, kiss the kids, and put them in bed, and then go to sleep. And that's not a great life. I'm thinking about the song "Moving Out" by Billy Joel, and in that story, they're buying homes in Hackensack, which is far west of New York City, but not as far as the Poconos. It's probably another half hour, 45 minutes to the Poconos. But he's saying, is that really a good quality of life? Commuting from Hackensack. Now, if I had to do that just twice a week, I wouldn't have said that's not too bad. 5 times a week, that's rough. That's rough. But now with today's technology, most of us can do the majority of our work at home. All right. So again, you could buy that less expensive house in Hackensack or in the Poconos, work, and then maybe once or twice around the city, and your life is a lot easier. So that's what they're saying, that but remote work may expand search areas, which is a good thing. All right, so let's scroll down a little bit more. Lawrence Yun, he's the chief economist of the National Association of Realtors. With more housing inventory to hit the market, the intense multiple offers will start to ease. Home prices will continue to rise, but at a slower pace. Once again, that's if we get the COVID-19 under control. What my fear is, all right, is that if it gets worse again, people who want to sell their house, but they're still living at home, they do not want a bunch of people walking through their homes, looking at it, and with the fear of spreading the COVID again. All right. So I keep on saying it, but we have to get this under control. If not, it could be very possible that we'll have an extreme shortage of listings and the bidding wars will start again. So let's look at George Retiu, manager of economy research of Realtor.com. Again, I summarize more houses being listed. We also expect a growing number of homeowners to bring properties to market, taking some pressure off high prices and offering buyers more options. Again, it's a basic economic principle. If you have a strong demand but low supply, prices go up. But if supply goes up, even if there's a strong demand, those prices should begin to ease, all right? Or not to increase as greatly as they did from 2020 to 2021. And again, Mark Fleming, chief economist of the First American. And let me bring this down just a little bit more so you can see. Strong demographics. Demand will continue to act as the wind in the housing market sales. All right. So they're saying as more young people, we could go back up to here. This is actually I'm hoping you see my mouse tail. And with more than 45 million millennials within the prime first-time buying ages of 26 to 35, heading into 2022, we expect the market to remain competitive. So those are the demographics of the people who are purchasing. This is they're not straight out of college. They've already, probably at the age 26, they've established their career, their professions, and they are ready to buy a home. But I think demographics also is concerning that people are looking at other markets. So not everybody's going to live and work in New York City or Chicago or San Diego. They will go out to the outskirts, but they will be fine. They'll be good. Okay. So what does this mean for buyers? Hopefully, as more homes are listed, you will have less competition. But they're saying with rising rates and prices going up, that means that you should find that house sooner rather than later. And again, for the sellers, it's still a strong market for them. But they're saying as more homes hopefully go in the market, you're not in the limelight. You don't just have that bright light shining on you. There are other people. You'll still get to sell your house at a good price, but it's not going to be that crazy competitive market where they're giving up everything, meaning the buyers. Okay. So let me take that out. I think we're finished with that. We'll close that up, and here I am again. Okay. So those are the items that we see happening in 2022. All right. If you're a buyer, I have to emphasize, and it seems like you always hear this from realtors. So buy now, you got to buy now, but you do, because we really expect those home prices to go up and mortgage rates to go up. So the house that you are looking at now is going to be more expensive as 2022 progresses. All right. The sellers are still pretty safe. The thing that I'm just going to mention is that hopefully, if more homes are listed, all right, if people feel safe to list their home, you're not going to have the spotlight just shining on you. You will still get a good price for your property, but you might have to say, my daughter and son-in-law put an offer on the house, but they didn't do. Here we say the appraisal guarantee. There they say the appraisal contingency, meaning that they're buying the house with the contingency. Like if the appraisal doesn't meet the purchase price, all right, then they have to renegotiate or be released from the contract. All right. This one seller said, no, I want you to buy the house. If the house, if our contracted price is $650 and the house appraises at $630, you have to come in the difference. And they said no. They saw a couple of things of the house just on the onset that had to be changed. All right. For instance, the windows weren't updated, and they showed me pictures. I'm on the East Coast or on the West Coast, and I just thought the heat pump was just too small for the size of that house, and it seems that's the same heat pump that was there when they purchased it in about the year 2000. So already it's 21 years old. So I don't think the house was appraised at what the sellers wanted, and I advised them, and they felt the same way, that don't bid higher and don't put in an appraisal guarantee or taking off the appraisal contingency. Each state, by the way, for those people watching, listening, and they're thinking about going into real estate. Each state has their way of, writing contracts. Some states, the realtor does not write the contract or write the offer. If the seller accepts it, then the contract actually goes to an attorney to write up. Virginia is a state where the realtor could write up the contract, but not every state is like that. So each state is different. That's why when you become a real estate agent in one state, you're not licensed in all 50 states. There are states that are reciprocal, that they have basically the same laws, and you will then just have to notify the real estate department of that state, okay, that you are working there, and you may not have to take additional classes and then test. When I moved down from New York to Virginia, I had to, I just had to take the broker exam. I didn't have to take the salesperson exam, but I did have to take the broker exam, especially dealing with law. All right. So again, with the advice that I'm giving my daughter and her son-in-law, and my son-in-law, her husband, when they talk about how the contract is put together, and even the procedures for them purchasing a house, I'm seeing it very different. It's very different in each state. Okay? So with that, I'm going to show you now a little video on the prediction of home prices. All right? That's only a few minutes. It's not even a few minutes. Okay. So again, they're expecting home prices and rents to go up in 2022. Again, not as drastic as 2021, but they see it going up. Okay. All right. So that's our show for today, January 1st of the brand new year. And I'm going to end. I always do a little funny skit at the end with people, famous people in the audience, but it's a new year, and I want everybody to start off on the right foot. So my ending credits is always accompanied by the song "Let There Be Peace on Earth." I found a nice college choir that sings it, because that's basically what I want for all of us. Of course, success. Of course, good health, and peace and love. But the peace, I think it's very important that we may disagree with each other when it comes to the vaccine, when it comes to politics, maybe when it comes to religion. But these are just disagreements. We could still all be friends. We could think different ways, but we could still get along. So again, Happy New Year. I'll toast you again. And we'll talk next week. Be safe, be well. And as I always say, the greatest power that we have is to love, and the greatest gift, each other.